welcome to LSBF TV. My name is Rajwana Udin and we're going to be talking about assessment tasks from Level 2 Bookkeeping Transactions. You may remember me from last session where we discussed an assessment task giving you the confidence that you need to go away, attempt such questions yourself so you can be successful in your AAT assessment. Today we're going to be continuing with the assessment task from Bookkeeping Transactions, and I'm going to be giving you the guidance that the examiner would like students to be aware of, and also giving you the little details that you need to be careful with, especially when answering these important questions. Our task is to ensure that we get as many marks as possible in the shortest period of time, because we want to be successful and we want to show the world what we can do and that we deserve the AAT qualification. Okay, so today we're going to be doing this task, and it's all about payroll. And this payroll bit here is going to be dealing with our wages control account. And the wages control account is going to be assessing the situation relating to the amounts payable to the employees. And this is going to be measured by amounts that the employer is going to be recognizing as an expense and the amounts that the employee will get to achieve after the amounts paid. The net pay, that's the word that I'm looking for. So I'm going to be giving you guys some time to read this question here, and then we're going to be going through it together. Okay? Now, give me 30 seconds and I'll be right back. Thank you. Okay guys, so this is the task for Bookkeeping Transactions. This is the question relating to an invoice and a purchase order. This question is going to be testing us on the student's ability on checking if the amounts shown on the invoice are correct, and also the examiner may ask us if there are any discrepancies or errors that we come across. Questions relating to invoices, credit notes, even the purchaser's daybook will be tested, especially in these areas, and the examiner is going to be asking you to enter any transactions in the books of prime entry, or making sure that you understand the double entries needed to post things into the general ledger. So this is the question for Bookkeeping Transactions, and the first thing we're going to do is Part A. Part A says, identify any discrepancies on the invoice by drawing a line linking each left-hand box to the appropriate right-hand box. Okay, so the examiner wants us to clearly scrutinize the invoice and see if the terms of payment have been correctly shown, if the VAT rate has been correctly shown, if the trade discount and the quantity is correctly shown in the invoice. So make sure you answer the question set. It's very important that you read the descriptions very carefully, and if this is going to be the CBE assessment, here I'm doing a paper version, but when you're doing the CBE, you need to click on, let's say, the terms of payment, and then click on the matching description, and then it will create a link between the two boxes. Now, if you change your mind, then you can unclick the box and therefore the line will disappear. Okay, so you are more than welcome to go onto the AAT website and attempt the sample assessments, and you can exactly visualize what you can be expecting in the real exam. For us, we're going to be looking at the nitty-pitty details that we need to avoid and gain the confidence that we need to be successful. Okay, so the invoice and purchase order below relate to goods received from ABC Limited. So we have an invoice here, okay, and we've got a purchase order there. We've got ABC Limited is the company that we have just bought goods from. The VAT registration number is given, the invoice number, to P Hill. P Hill is the customer, so I am going to be buying goods. I'm P Hill and buying goods to the buying goods from the supplier. Okay, let me just zoom out a little bit. There we go, so you can see every single bit from the invoice and the purchase order. The invoice date was on the 15th of April, and it is 450 units of the product labelled LL29 at 120 each, and the total is 540. The VAT is at 20%, and the total is 648. And the terms of the payment is net monthly account, which means that the amount due is payable within 30 days of the invoice date. The purchase order will be in a document sent before the invoice is issued. Okay, should I zoom in a little bit so you can see? Oh, is that better? So you don't have to miss out on any important bits on the screen there. Now, the purchase order was sent from P Hill, and the examiner's report did indicate that a lot of students got confused who the supplier was and who the customer is. It says very clearly that the invoice and purchase order below relate to the good received from ABC Limited. So ABC Limited is the supplier, ABC Limited, these guys are the suppliers, and then we've got P Hill, that's the customer. Okay, and it says please supply 400 units of product code LL29 at 120 each, less 5% trade discount. As agreed, terms of payment are 3% discount for payment by the end of the month. So in the purchase order, we have requested a 3% cash settlement discount, or an early settlement discount, or known as a prompt payment discount. So the question here is asking us whether any discrepancies can be found on the invoice, and we need to link the discrepancy or the item to its correct description. Okay, so it says there, the terms of payment. Have the terms of payment been not shown in the invoice, correctly or shown in the invoice, or incorrectly shown on the invoice? Okay, now in the purchase order, the terms of payment is requesting a 3% discount payable at the end of the month. But in the invoice, it says no discount was applied at 3%, and the amount is going to be due within 30 days of the invoice date. So I can see very clearly that the terms of the payment is incorrectly shown on the invoice. So I'm going to be dragging and dropping or selecting that item to the relevant description. And this is what I need to do to gain all 4 marks. Okay. The next one we've got is the VAT rate. Okay. Has the VAT rate been incorrectly shown on the invoice, correctly shown on the invoice, or not shown at all? Now, I need to check this if the calculation of VAT is going to be correct. Now, they have charged 450 units at 120, so the total amount is £540. And if I multiply that by 20%, the VAT is going to be £108. So I can very comfortably and confidently say that the VAT rate is correctly shown on the invoice. Okay, so I've just got 2 out of the 4 marks. The next item is trade discount. Have they applied a trade discount? Well, in the purchase order, they have requested a 5% trade discount, but I cannot see any discount applied in the invoice because the full 450 units times by 120 gives me the total amount of 540. No discounts were netted off here. So the trade discount is not shown on the invoice. So let me grab my ruler again. Trade discount, not shown on the invoice. And finally, we have quantity. The quantity is asking us, have we shown the correct amount that the customer has ordered from us in terms of the units? Now for the purchase order, I can see that P Hill has requested 400 units of product LL29. But on the invoice, they have charged us for 450 units of product LL29. So the quantity, the number of units, has been incorrectly shown on the invoice. And there you have it, guys. I have selected the item to the correct description and I've achieved 4 out of 4 marks. Very nice, very easy. Here at LSBF, we create videos that give you the guidance that you need to gain the knowledge. As part of our knowledge tuition videos, we also do mini assessment tasks so students can gain the confidence and understand the bits that they've learnt in the tuition video. Why not sign up today and attempt Level 2 Bookkeeping Transactions? We go through all of the details that you need to be successful in the assessment. Now, according to the examiner's reports, a lot of students have failed to identify the discrepancies correctly. And other discrepancies could include the date, okay? It could be the discount, again, the terms of payment. So you need to read the question very carefully. Now, don't let any fears or any anxiety allow you not to be confidently answering such questions. You need to show the examiner what you're worth and you deserve full marks. Okay? So that is part A of the question. Now, allow us to move on to part B of the question. I think I'm going to zoom back in again because any information will not be crossed out. There we go, much better. It says the invoice below has been received from Benton PLC. So the invoice has been received from Benton. So Benton is the supplier. So if you identify the parties involved in such transactions, your life could be easier because then you can identify in which perspective you are preparing the accounts for. Okay? So, hi guys, thank you so much. I'm just reading your comments now. Hi Tristan, hi Brigitte, hi Stuart, hi Janita, hi Nanchika, thank you very much. What do you guys think about this assessment? Would you be confident in answering such things in your real exam? I would love to know what you think. And while you're telling me your thoughts, I'm going to be talking about this invoice. So we've got Benton PLC, remember they are the supplier, and then the VAT registration number is given. The invoice number is 13985. These little bits and pieces are going to be very helpful when doing, or they could be helpful when doing the next bit. To P Hill, so P Hill is the customer. Okay, so I'm going to just introduce that there. This is the customer, and the invoice date is the 15th of April. We have purchased 225 units of product code XX42 at 95p each. The VAT, the VAT is at 20%, and the total is 256.50. Now I'm not going to start calculating these bits yet because I don't know what the examiner wants me to do. It's very important that you understand what the examiner needs you to do to gain as many marks as possible. If you start calculating bits and pieces, you are at danger of wasting precious time. So if you get an idea of what you must do, and then you can go back to the scenario and only concentrate on the bits that you need and the bits you only care about. Let's be honest here, we only need to deal with what we need to get marks on. Okay, so part B says, record the invoice in the appropriate daybook by selecting the correct daybook title and making any necessary entries. Okay, so record the invoice in the appropriate daybook. Right, so the examiner has given us a document and they are testing us on whether we are able to build this daybook, and we have to include the title, the amounts, the details, and make sure we include the total, the VAT, and the net figure here. Okay? So, the examiner is testing you on your knowledge on the books of prime entry. Do you know the names of the important books of prime entry that you could be dealing with in your syllabus? You could have the sales daybook, which records invoices that we send to credit customers. Then we've got the sales returns daybook, which records any credit notes that we have sent to our credit customers. The purchases daybook records the invoices that we received from my credit suppliers, and the purchases returns daybook records any credit notes received from my credit suppliers. So you need to know which document or financial document will be entered into the relevant books of prime entry. I can see that the examiner will require me to enter the total, the VAT, and the net amount. So at this point in time, I think it's a good idea to go and recalculate the figures just to make sure there are no errors in the given invoice. Okay, so let me just scroll up here. We've got the invoice number 13985, and 225 is the product code, and this is £0.95. Okay, so 225, let's do some calculations. 225 units times 0.95. If I type that on the calculator, what are we getting? 225 times 0.95, I'm getting 213.75. Okay, so the first calculation is correct. Now let's calculate the VAT. Since the question did not include any items relating to discounts, then it's very, very easy. Remember that discounts are only applied to the gross amounts before deducting the VAT amounts. So trade discounts are applicable to the gross amount, and then VAT is calculated. But for prompt payment discounts, you need to net off the VAT first. Okay? So, the VAT at 20%, let's see. So 213.75 times 20%. Let's see if that is correct. Let me just put a pound sign there, just to help you remember that we're working with the monetary amounts. Times 20%, that's going to be 42.75. So the VAT amount is calculated correctly, and therefore the total amount due will be the amount for the products plus the amount relating to VAT. So now let's check if this is correct. So we do 213.75 plus the VAT 42.75. And if I tap on the calculator, I've got 256.50. 256.50. There we have it. So all the calculations have been done correctly, and now I can confidently fill in this book of prime entry. So we begin by selecting or choosing the correct daybook title. This is an invoice that we have received from Benton PLC. And because we are P Hill, it means that we have bought goods from the supplier, and the amount is due in 30 days' time. So if you are receiving invoices from your supplier, this will be recorded in the Purchases Daybook. So the correct daybook title is the Purchases Daybook. There we go. Very nice, very easy. Now we're selecting the details. The details are going to be mentioning the name of the supplier. According to the examiner's report, a lot of students put in the customer's name here because they are not able to distinguish who is the supplier and who is the customer. You need to read the question very, very carefully, ladies and gentlemen. Its question says that this invoice has been received from Benton PLC, and only a supplier would send us an invoice. So we enter the supplier name, and the supplier name is Benton PLC. Okay. The invoice number is 13985, and then you just scroll up just to check if that's correctly being done. 13985, yep, I can see that. 13985, okay, so that's perfect. Now we include the total, the VAT, and the net amount. Right. The total amount that we have calculated is £256.50. This is the amount due to the supplier. So you do 256.50. 256.50. The VAT amount is the amount that Benton will have to collect on behalf of HMRC and pay to them. So the VAT amount is £42.75. And the net amount that is due is £213.75. Just like we've calculated above, and we have double checked if the amounts are correct. So 213.75. There we go. So we have just correctly filled in this book of private entry. Questions here is regarding the linking of the discrepancies found on the invoice, that the examiner can award you or give you any financial document, and you need to be confident and learn how to build them maybe, or identify any issues with the documents. Okay? So, from the examiner's report, if I just scroll down and look at the beautiful work that we have just created, the examiner says that sometimes, again, the organisation's name can be twisted with the customer name. And if you're receiving a credit note, or if you're sending a credit note, ask yourself, who is the supplier and who is the customer? A lot of students, says the examiner, identify the incorrect daybook in which the entries should be made. So let's say that this was a credit note received from Benton PLC. It means we have sent goods back to the supplier, and therefore we owe them less money. Any goods that we've returned to the supplier is going to be recorded in the purchases returns daybook. If we send a credit note to a customer, the information on such financial document will be recorded in the sales returns daybook. So make sure you understand the difference between purchases returns and sales returns, and you are definitely going to be 100% confident in getting as many marks as possible here. A lot of students would spend around 5 minutes on such questions, but it's also important to ensure that yes, it's great you're spending a little time on this, but there is no room for mistakes. My advice would be to spend the first 10 minutes or so in your AAT assessment clicking through each assessment task. The assessment tasks that you feel that you've got most confidence in, I would suggest you do those first. So that's where your strengths are, get them out of the way, and then you can spend the remaining time doing the other questions which you found challenging. Now, these questions are going to be deriving from the questions that you have practiced in your self-study. On the AAT website, there are wonderful green light tests that you can attempt. These tests will pinpoint to a particular topic that students may have found difficult over the progress of accumulating reports from the examiner. It's all about showing confidence and showing the examiner what we can do. Now with bookkeeping transactions, this is going to be giving you the knowledge that you need to progress onto the other bookkeeping courses. We have the bookkeeping controls, we have advanced bookkeeping in level 3, and we've got financial accounts preparation for level 3. So you have to use the knowledge that you've gained in level 2 and apply that in level 3. And once you've completed level 3, you will move on to level 4, of course, which is financial statements for limited companies. If you do have any questions, you're more than welcome to contact us, or you can ensure that you can bung in a comment in this chat box here. We, tutors here at LSBF, are enjoying our time talking through these assessment tasks and also helping students along the way, and it's completely free, guys. So you're more than welcome to sign up today, watch our level 2, level 3 videos and see what we can do for you. Thank you very much for joining me, guys, and I wish you the best of luck with your studies. Until next time, goodbye and take care.